Hello, I'm Dr. Ellen. I'm going to talk today about setting and creating power goals, goals that are so strong and compelling. And you can almost feel with confidence that without a doubt, almost inevitably, that you'll be able to bring your goal through to reality, from goal all the way through the gap to bringing it to life. And I'm going to talk about what's involved in setting power goals and creating them, and in moving forward once you've named your goal. Why is it that a lot of people fail at goals? There are a lot of programs dedicated to creating goals, but I think a lot of them stop at that point and they don't talk about the magic, about the power that you need to go beyond and create momentum, to really bring your goals to fruition, to bring them to life. In our society, in schools, our kids are taught math and science and reading and academics, and those are so important. But we're not taught to plan life, to create life. And what happens is that we become observers of life. We sit and we go day to day to day, and we take life as it happens. And again, we become observers, we become consumers of life instead of creators of life. But setting goals is really the gateway, the doorway to creating your life, not living it day to day with whatever comes, but creating a life that you want, deciding where you want to get to, what you want to be doing. So goal setting and goal reaching is really an important part of building success and becoming the best person in your life. And that's something I'm really passionate about. I'm really passionate about helping people become their best at work and at home and in life. So let's move forward. And I'm going to tell you all about creating power goals today. So first, I'd like to ask you to imagine this. What would happen if you would get in your car and start your car up and start driving around randomly and aimlessly without a goal in mind, without a destination? What would happen if you go in your car and drive and you really hadn't decided in advance where you want to go? Where would you end up? Well, we don't know. I don't know. You don't know, because you've been driving around randomly. You didn't have a destination in mind. And would you be happy with your destination? Well, I don't know. You don't know, because we don't know what that destination is. And that's what it's like when you live life without goals, because you just go from day to day, not knowing where you're heading, or if you're heading where you want to be. You're just taking life as a consumer, as an observer. But what happens if you could create life the way you want it to be? Again, by living life randomly, you're giving up the power to become who you want to be and where you want to be. But with goals, you live life consciously, not randomly. And with goals, you live life with power, not at the bequest of the environment or other people's goals or other energy. You really live life with intention, not by accident. So let's talk about how to do that. I encourage my clients to create power goals, and I'm going to share some secrets with you about that today. And at the end, I'll give you some further information if you'd like to work more on creating power goals. So let's get started. I'm going to give you 10 tips today about creating power goals. And the first tip is, one, to name your goal. Define your goal. Define it with detail. And this is the one tip out of the 10 that you do hear a lot in articles and reports about goals. And I think it's one of the reasons why a lot of people actually end up failing goals, because in a lot of places, this is really the main tip, the only tip they give, to set a goal. But again, in power goals, you want to name a goal and set a goal with detail. And the reason is, with detail, it helps you know where you're going and how to get there. So for example, if you set a goal, I want to lose weight. Well, do you want to lose 10 pounds or 30 pounds or 90 pounds? And are you hoping to lose this weight in 3 months or 6 months, or do you have a year? And by knowing those details, it helps it helps guide you in the right direction so that you can meet your goals. If you really don't have the goals formulated in detail and it's very vague, it's hard to get momentum and to know where you're going. So, and I told you that there's already some information out there. So I'm going to talk about SMART goals, which you may have heard of already. So I'm going to talk about that briefly. But SMART goals are goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So for example, if you want to lose weight, a SMART goal would be, I want to lose 30 pounds in 4 months. That is specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's relevant, and it is time-bound. It has time of 4 months. But in power goals, we're going to go way past that. But again, that's a good starting point. And again, you want details, because like when you're in a car, you really know where you want to end up. And in goals also, you want to know where you'll end up. And as an example, what if you had a goal, you wanted to drive and visit a friend in New York City? So let's say you drive to New York City and you get to a random street. Well, what's the likelihood that your friend is going to be on that street? Well, New York City is a big place. And if you go to a random street, it's not likely that one person you know will happen to be there. So let's say you create a more detailed goal, little more detailed. Let's say you say, I want to go meet my friend in New York City on 2nd Avenue. So that's a little more specific, but 2nd Avenue is still a very long avenue. And it's not likely that you'll get to one spot on 2nd Avenue and your friend will be there. So what if you get more specific? What if you say, I want to drive to New York City and meet my friend on 2nd Avenue and 14th Street? Well, now you're getting more detailed. But again, 2nd Avenue and 14th Street is a corner, but there are a lot of buildings and a lot of people. So what if you get more specific now? What if you get an exact address where you know your friend is? Bam! Now you've created your specific goal, and you know if you reach that destination, it's going to be where you want to be. You'll be able to see your friend. And again, that's how detailed you want your goals to be. You want the destination to be clear. Just like if you get in your car, you want to know exactly where you're driving to, where you can put your GPS and say, this is where I'm going, this is where I want to be. So that is the first step in power goals, to be detailed, to know where you're going. Let's get to the second step. And the second step is process is a key factor in power goals. So in the first step, we know what you want to do. And now we want to know how you're going to get there. If this is your goal and this is your endpoint that you want to reach, what's your pathway? What's your process to reach your goal? Again, if you have a name of a goal and a pathway and a process, it's going to help you reach your goal. If you just have a goal, some words that you want to accomplish, Well, words alone are not magic, and words alone will not bring you to an endpoint, but a process will help you get there. So, a process is like taking the key and starting up the car. It gets you started, it allows you to start on the path. So, let's talk about the weight loss goal. We said a SMART goal is I want to lose 30 pounds in 4 months. And let's add a process onto that SMART goal. So a SMART goal is not enough for a power goal. Let's add on to that SMART goal. I want to lose 30 pounds in 4 months using X diet plan that I'm familiar with and I'm committed to, and doing exercise 3 times a week, half an hour at a time. So now you have a goal that's well defined and you have a process that will help you get there. Again, now you're moving along in your power goals. So let's move to step 3. And step 3 is to review and assess your goal over time. Are you making progress? Are you moving along your pathway towards your goal? Or are you getting stuck? Are you falling off the track? It's important to evaluate and review so you know how much you're progressing. And if you're going well, you may want to stick with the same process. But if you find that you're getting stuck, you might want to modify your process, or you may want to change to a completely new process. So again, it's important to evaluate as you're going along and to decide, is the process I'm using the best one? And sometimes when you evaluate along the way, you may find that you fell off track. And so it's helpful to review, because when you find you're off track, that's an impetus. It gives you motivation again to get back on track and to look at your process again. So that's number 3, to review and assess. Let's move on to number 4. And number 4 is that your goals should not be based on not. And the reason is that the brain doesn't think in negative terms. And here's an example to show you why. I'm going to ask you now, don't think of a purple elephant. What's the first thing that happened? I know, you can't help but think of a purple elephant. Let's try something else. Whatever you do, don't think of the background sounds in your room. And you may just have become observant of some sounds that you hadn't noticed before. Because again, the brain doesn't think in negative terms. It thinks of the words that it hears. So for example, if you think, I don't want to smoke, what's the word that you keep hearing every time you say that to yourself? Smoking. So let's think. If you have a goal, I want to learn to play the piano, you're going to be thinking of yourself sitting at the piano, moving your hands along, making music. If you're thinking that you want to learn to drive a car, you're going to picture yourself sitting behind a car and driving. So it's facilitative to think about what you want to do, but it's not helpful to think about what you don't want to do, because by phrasing it, you're thinking of that like smoking. Here's another one that's a little complicated. A goal of losing weight. I want to lose weight. Well, it's hard to sit and think about what you're doing when you want to lose weight. What are you doing and sitting on losing weight? So it's really helpful to have a well-defined process so that when you're thinking of your goal, you can think about what you are doing as opposed to not being able to think about what you're not doing. So for losing weight, you're thinking about eating healthy foods and exercising 3 times a week for a half hour at a time. And that's helpful, that's useful, and that's productive. So again, We don't want to think about what we don't want to do. We want to phrase goals that help us. And we're up to number 5. Number 5 is a group of areas that I talk about with my clients where you can set goals. In all these goal setting programs and workshops, there are really a few common areas that are commonly planned and discussed. And usually it's weight loss, stopping smoking, and sometimes I want to get a new job or I want to get a better job. But there are really 8 areas that I discuss with my clients where you can have goals in your life. I'm going to read them and mention them to you. So 1 is personal growth and personal learning. What do you want to do in your life? What do you want to accomplish and learn? Number 2 is self-care. What processes do you need to re-energize to keep your fuel tank filled? And that includes stress management, because it's really important in life to have processes to manage stress in our stress-filled life. And if you're going through life, some of my clients start out and say, I feel like I'm swimming. I'm just trying to stay afloat. I don't have time to set goals. Just by saying that, that tells me that life is really out of your control, and that by setting goals, you can bring control back to your life. So think about how goal setting can help you, even if you feel like you need help, and especially if you feel like you need more help to control your life. And 3 is work and career. What do you want to accomplish in your work life? 4 is home and family. What's important to you about doing at home and accomplishing with your family? 5 is friends, relationships, and your social circles. What's important to you? What are the things you'd like to accomplish and tackle? 6 is health. 7 is finances. And 8 is spiritual. And again, addressing all of these areas can help you create a life that's really a life of success and happiness that's really fulfilling for you. And again, this is a life you want to create. It's not going to just show up if you sit and observe life. You need to really create life to bring those areas to reality. And there are also, if you're in companies or businesses, you may want to create these power goals for your companies and businesses as well. So let's move on to number 6. And number 6 for power goals is really important. Number 6 is, what is your why? Why do you want to accomplish this goal? What's your motivation? What's your commitment? Because building and understanding your why, your commitment, helps you build the momentum, helps you keep moving ahead. So again, if the words of your goal, if creating and phrasing your goal is the destination and the process is a general pathway, knowing your why gives you the momentum to step on that gas pedal and keep your momentum going while you're creating that goal and bringing it to reality. And again, a goal is just words. You need a process and you need momentum to keep you going. So I'm going to mention number 6, what is your why, in 2 different ways. And the first I've done, what is your why? What's your momentum? What's your source of commitment? And the second way I want to mention that is, what is your why? It's really important in goals for you to have motivation. And if your goal is to make other people happy, for example, if you want to lose weight because a spouse or partner made some comments about weight, or you're trying to impress friends, reaching goals to impress other people, to reach other people's goals for you, is often very difficult. It's a lot of work. It's a task. It's a chore. It's not a joy because you're working to make other people happy, not yourself. So if you have a goal, look inside and really think, what is your commitment? What is your motivation to reach this goal? And if you can find that, that will really helpful. That will really be helpful in your power goal. Let's move on to number 7. So number 7 is to be aware that there are short-term goals and long-term goals. And when you look at goal studies, they talk about goals for 1 year or less, and those are short-term goals. And then there are goals for 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. And you may say, 10 years is far ahead. How do I know really what I'll be doing in 10 years? And you may not know exactly, and your goals may change over time, but it's a good exercise to think about what you might be doing because it gives you time to think about where you would want to be. And if you can picture where you want to be in 10 years, then you might think, well, if I want to be there in 10 years, where do I need to be in 5 years? And if I want to be there in 5 years, where do I need to be in 3 years? And to be there in 3 years, what do I need to be doing in 1 year and back to now? And again, you might think, well, where am I now? And what do I want to accomplish? Where do I want to be in 1 year? And if I can do that in 1 year, then where can I be in 3 years and 5 years and 10 years? So time frames are really important and helpful in goals. And I want to mention, it's really important. Don't procrastinate on your short-term goals and don't shortchange the small steps that you can take because they're really important. And it's the small steps that accumulate over time that lead you to the giant accomplishments in life. So again, don't minimize the small steps, the mini steps, the small challenges that you're able to accomplish. Those are really crucial and essential and important. And number 8 is to celebrate your accomplishments and wins along the way. So reaching goals is not just work. You should build in celebrations and don't forget to congratulate yourself when you accomplish something. You might want to give yourself a reward when you do something important, or call a friend or family member if you'd like. Or, and I always invite my clients, contact me, send me an email, and I'll be happy to congratulate you because reaching goals is so important in building towards a better future, in becoming the best we can in life. So again, don't forget to celebrate. And we're at number 9. We're really getting there. So number 9 is some common errors that people make along the way. And number 1 is, again, still staying too vague with your goals. Again, the more specific you come about, the more specific you can talk about your goal in terms of what you want to do, what your process is, what is your why do you want to get there, why are you committed? All these details help you build to get across the gap from what you want to do to build towards reality. So that's the first common error. And again, if you misstep at the first step, it's really harder to move ahead to your 1 year, 3 year, 5 and 10 year steps. So that first step is really crucial. And the second step is not staying focused. Sometimes you have too many goals, or your pathway just isn't clear enough, or you're not prioritizing to stay on track. So again, these are all important, And you'll pick these cues up if you review and assess over time. And the third error is not making goals, not creating goals. Again, I talked about in our society, we're really not trained to create goals and to create our life. We're really trained to sit back and be observers and to take things day by day, to be consumers. But I want my clients to be creators of their life. And I want to help people reach their best. And so that's why I'm here to discuss power goals with you. So again, if you want to live without goals, then you're living really as a consumer. Life happens to you. But if you take life and move forward and create goals, that's the doorway, the entryway to making life as you'd like it to be, so that you can be doing what you want to be and you can be where you want to be. And it doesn't just happen, it's intentional with direction. And that brings us to number 10. Number 10 is you don't have to do it alone. Most likely, whatever you want to accomplish, there are other people who've done it. And so there are a lot of mentors and experts and coaches out there who can give some advice. If you're interested in power goals and if you'd like me to help you create your power goals, I'll put a link in the comments where you can make an appointment and talk with me about how I can help you create power goals. And there are many really good people out there in the world. So again, the important thing is to know how to create a goal, to bring your goal with an important process that you can have confidence in, to know and understand your why in your direction of building your power goal. And some people find it helpful to have accountability buddies, somebody who you might talk to over time. So if you're losing weight and you may have a friend who's losing weight, maybe you can speak once a week and discuss how's it going? How much did you lose? How much did I lose? Is everybody still on course? And very often, if one person has fallen off the path, the other person in the accountability duo can help you get back on track. So there are many ways to stay motivated and on course. And it's important to remember that you're not isolated, you're not alone. There are friends, there are accountability partners, there are experts and coaches who are able to work with you. So I want to share a thought with you that I think about when I think about creating goals. And it's one of my favorite musicals. There's a song in West Side Story called Somewhere. And every time I hear the song, no matter when I hear it or who's singing it, it just really gets me emotionally. I just get goosebumps all over. And there are 3 words in the song that really get to me: somewhere, somehow, someday. And those 3 words can be an important formula in goal setting. So the first one, somewhere. What's your somewhere? Where do you want to be? What's your destination? What's your goal? And somehow, what's your process? What's your why? What's your motivation? How can you get there? And someday, and in this song and this movie, it's a beautiful thought about bringing this dream true, and that someday this dream can come true. And in reality, we all know if we leave our goals for someday, someday may not come to us. And someday isn't a day of the week. So we need to create our someday. We need to make our someday. And what's the best time to start creating our goals? Today, now. Let's move forward with our power goals and let's make them come true. Let's make our wishes beyond wishes. Let's bring them to reality. So think about what's your somewhere, what's your somehow, and what's your someday now? How can we bring it to reality? So I mentioned that the last step is to reach out and that you're not alone. And I'm going to try to be a role model in this. So I mentioned that it's my passion to help people become their best in life, their best at work, at home, and in their own life. So if you found this video helpful, I hope that you'll consider sharing this video with maybe 2 or 3 or 4 people who you feel may benefit from this, so that you and I can help them reach their goals. Or maybe you want to share it on Facebook or your social media, or maybe you want to share it at a work meeting with other people, so that as a team, you can build power goals together, or help your coworkers build power goals, or however you feel comfortable to share this. And if you do, I hope you'll write in the comments that you did, so that I can thank you and honor you for helping people work towards building goals with me. So again, if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're watching this up till now, I hope that you found this helpful. And if you found it helpful, if you can hit the like button, that will help other people know that this is useful. And if you hit subscribe, you'll benefit and you'll become aware when I post my next videos. And speaking of next videos, I'm going to be posting another video next Sunday night on another topic related to helping people become their best at home, at work, and in life. So if you have a topic that you'd like me to talk about, feel free to post it in the comments, as well as with any questions or comments that you have. I will go back and I'll be looking at the comments. I will put a link there if you'd like to take this further and talk to me about creating power goals for you or for your group or for your work. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll put a link to my calendar in the comments. And if you prefer to email me, I make that really easy. My email is ellenwillhelp@gmail.com. So I try to make that really easy so people can reach out to me, and I do answer all of my emails. Again, I'll be posting another video next week. So until then, be strong, be empowered, and let's talk again soon.